Hello everybody and welcome back to Casual Audio Papers. Seeing as how it's Thanksgiving, I am going to do something which I've never done before, and that is, have an open mind. I grew up mostly conservative and under the impression that Christopher Columbus was a decent person and that most of the hubbub around him is uh, pretty much entirely overblown and, well, at best and then at worst, just a flat out lie. And so I'm going to go into this with an open mind. I feel like one of the important things to do when determining the character of somebody is to, read what they have said. And so I'm going to read the journal of the first voyage of Columbus. And I think I'm going to do this as a bit of a series, probably over the course of the next week, and just see how far I get. I'm not a historian, but I am interested in history and I know a bit about this era, but we will see how much context I can actually provide with this. But without further ado, let us get started. Journal of the First Voyage of Columbus. This is the first voyage and the routes and direction taken by the Admiral Don Cristobal Colon, when he discovered the Indies, summarized, except the prologue made for the sovereigns, which is given word for word and commences in this manner. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Because, O most Christian and very high, very excellent and puissant princes, king and queen of the Spains, and of the islands of the sea, our lords, in this present year of 1492, after your highnesses had given an end to the war with the Moors who reigned in Europe, and had finished it in the very great city of Granada, where in this present year, on the 2nd day of the month of January, by force of arms, I saw the royal banner of your highnesses placed on the towers of Alhambra, which is the fortress of that city. And I saw the Moorish king come forth from the gates of the city, and kiss the royal hands of your highnesses, and of the prince my lord. And presently, in the same month, acting on the information that I had given to your highnesses, touching the lands of India, and respecting a prince who is called Grancan, which means in our language, King of Kings, how he and his ancestors had sent to Rome many times to ask for learned men of our holy faith to teach him, and how the holy fathers had never complied, insomuch that many people believing in idolatries were lost by receiving doctrine of perdition. Your highnesses, as Catholic Christians and princes who love the holy Christian faith and the propagation of it, and who are enemies to the sect of Mahoma and to all idolatries and heresies. Mahoma, not entirely sure what that is. Let's take a look. Oh, geez. Let's do this one. Mahoma. Of course it would be in Spanish. I think it just means the Mohammedites, which is a common way of referring to Muslims back in the day. Let me see, where was I? And who are enemies to the sect of Mahoma and to all idolatries and heresies, resolves to send me, Cristobal Colon, to the said parts of India to see the said princes, and the cities and lands, and their disposition, with a view that they might be converted to our holy faith, and ordered that I should not go by land to the eastward, as had been customary, but that I should go by way of the west, whither up to this day we do not know for certain that anyone has gone. Thus, after having turned out all the Jews from all your kingdoms and lordships, which was pretty much this time, in the same month of January, your Highnesses gave orders to me that with a sufficient fleet I should go to the said parts of India, and for this they made great concessions to me, and ennobled me, so that henceforward I should be called a Don, and should be Chief Admiral of the Ocean Sea, perpetual Viceroy and Governor of all the islands and continents that I should discover and gain, and that I might hereafter discover and gain in the Ocean Sea, and that my eldest son should succeed, and so on from generation to generation forever. Oh, that's interesting. I left to the city of Granada on the 12th day of May in the same year of 1492, being Saturday, and came to the town of Palos, which is a seaport, where I equipped 3 vessels well suited for such service, and departed from that port, well supplied with provisions and with many sailors, on the 3rd day of August of the same year, being Friday, half an hour before sunrise, taking the route to the islands of Canaria, belonging to your Highnesses, which are in the said Ocean Sea, that I might thence take my departure for navigating until I should arrive at the Indies, and give the letters of your Highnesses to those princes, so as to comply with my orders. As part of my duty, I thought it well to write an account of all the voyage very punctually, noting from day to day all that I should do and see, and that should happen, as will be seen further on. Also, lords, princes, I resolved to describe each night what passed in the day, and to note each day how I navigated at night. I propose to construct a new chart for navigating, on which I shall delineate all the sea and lands of the ocean in their proper positions under their bearings, and further, I propose to prepare a book, and to put down all as it were in a picture, by latitude from the equator, and westward longitude. Above all, I shall have accomplished much, for I shall forget sleep, and shall work at the business of navigation, that so the service may be performed, all which will entail great labor. Friday, 3rd of August. We departed on Friday, the 3rd of August, in the year 1492, from the bar of Saltez, at 8 o'clock, and proceeded with a strong sea breeze until sunset, towards the south, for 60 miles, equal to 15 leagues, afterwards southwest and west-southwest, which was the course for the Canaries, and west, afterwards SW and WSW, which was the course for the Canaries. Saturday, 4th of August. They steered southwest and then south. They continued their formed by 2 of the river Audiel in front of the town of Huelva. It was inhabited certainly until the 12th century, and as late as 1267 King Alonso the Wise fixed the boundary between the towns of the Salts and Huelva. It is unknown when it ceased to be inhabited, but even in the Summa de Geographa of Martin Fernandez de Enquiso, printed in 1519, mention is made of this town of Saltez. Yet it is certain that at that time only the church remained, attached to those of Huelva, which shows that there were no longer any inhabited houses. No length of time can have passed before the church itself fell into ruins, for in order to preserve some memory of it. Okay, cool. Sunday, 5th of August. They continued their course day and night, more than 40 leagues. Monday, 6th of August. The rudder of the Caravel Pinta became unshipped, and Martin Alonso Pinzon, who was in command, believed or suspected that it was by contrivance of Gomez Rascon, and Cristobal Quintero, to whom the caravel belonged, for they dreaded to go on that voyage. The admiral says that before they sailed, these men had been displaying a certain backwardness, so to speak. The admiral was much disturbed at not being able to help the said caravel without danger, and he says that he was eased of some anxiety when he reflected that Martin Alonso Pinzon was a man of energy and ingenuity. They made, during the day and night, 29 leagues. Tuesday, 7th of August. The rudder of the Pinta was shipped and secured, and they proceeded on a course for the island of Lanzarote, one of the Canaries. They made during the day and night 25 leagues. Wednesday, 8th of August. Opinions respecting their position varied among the pilots of the three caravels, but that of the admiral proved to be nearer the truth. He wished to go to Gran Canaries to leave the caravel Pinta, because she was disabled by the faulty hanging of her rudder, and was making water. He intended to obtain another there if one could be found. They could not reach the place that day. Thursday, 9th of August. The admiral was not able to reach Gomera until the night of Sunday, while Martin Alonso remained on that coast of Gran Canaria, by order of the admiral, because his vessel could not be navigated. Afterwards the admiral took her to Canaria, and they repaired the Pinta very thoroughly through the pains and labor of the admiral, of Martin Alonso, and of the rest. Finally they came to Gomera. They saw a great fire issue from the mountain of the island of Tenerife, which is of great height. They rigged the Pinta with square sails, for she was lateen rigged, and the admiral reached Gomera on Sunday, the 2nd of September, with the Pinta repaired. The admiral says that many honorable Spanish gentlemen who were at Gomera with Dona Inez Peraza, mother of Guilan Peraza, who was afterwards the first Count of Gomera, and who were natives of the island of Hierro, declared that every year they saw land to the west of the Canaries. The others, natives of Gomera, affirmed the same on oath. The admiral here says that he remembers when, in Portugal in the year 1484, a man came to the king from the island of Madeira to beg for a caravel to go to this land that was seen, who swore that it could be seen every year, and always in the same way. He also says that he recollects the same thing being affirmed in the islands of the Azores, and all these lands were described as in the same direction, and as being like each other, and of the same size. Having taken in water, wood, and meat, and all else that the men had who were left at Gomera by the admiral when he went to the island of Canaria to repair the caravel Pinta, he finally made sail from the said island of Gomera, with his 3 caravels on Thursday, the 6th day of September. Thursday, 6th of September. He departed on that day from the port of Gomera in the morning, and shaped a course to go in his voyage, having received tidings from a caravel that came from the island of Hierro that 3 Portuguese caravels were off that island with the object of taking him. This must have been the result of the king's annoyance that Colin should have gone to Castile. There was a calm all that day and night, and in the morning he found himself between Gomera and Tenerife. Friday, 7th of September. The calm continued all Friday and Saturday until the 3rd hour of the night. Saturday, 8th of September. At the 3rd hour of Saturday night it began to blow from the northeast, and the admiral shaped a course to the west. He took in much sea over the bows, which retarded progress, and 9 leagues were made in that day and night. Sunday, 9th of September. This day the admiral made 19 leagues, and he arranged to reckon less than the number run, because if the voyage was of long duration, the people would not be so terrified and disheartened. In the night he made 120 miles at the rate of 12 miles an hour, which are 30 leagues. The sailors steered badly, letting the ship fall off to northeast, and even more, respecting which the admiral complained many times. Monday, 10th of September. In this day and night he made 60 leagues at the rate of 10 miles an hour, which are 2.5 leagues, but he only counted 48 leagues, that the people might not be alarmed if the voyage should be long. That day, that's funny. Thursday, 11th of September. That day they sailed on their course, which was west, and made 20 leagues and more. They saw a large piece of the mast of a ship of 120 tons, but were unable to get it. In the night they made nearly 20 leagues, but only counted 16, for the reason already given. Wednesday, 12th of September. That day, steering their course, they made 33 leagues during the day and night, counting less. Thursday, 13th of September. That day and night, steering their course, which was west, they made 33 leagues, counting 3 or 4 less. The currents were against them. On this day, at the commencement of the night, the needles turned a half point to northwest, and in the morning they turned somewhat more northwest. Friday, 14th of September. That day they navigated on their westerly course, day and night 20 leagues, counting a little less. Here those of the Caravel Nina reported that they had seen a tern and a boast-wind bird, and these birds never go more than 25 leagues from the land. Saturday, 15th of September. That day and night they made 27 leagues, and rather more on their west course, and in the early part of the night there fell from heaven into a sea a marvelous flame of fire at a distance of about 4 or 5 leagues from them. Well, that's weird. Sunday, 16th of September. That day and night they steered their course west, making 39 leagues, but the admiral only counted 36. There were some clouds and small rain. The admiral says that on that day, and ever afterwards, they met with very temperate breezes, so that there was great pleasure in enjoying the mornings, nothing being wanted but the song of nightingales. He says that the weather was like April in Andalusia. Here they began to see many tufts of grass, which were very green, and appeared to have been quite recently torn from the land. From this they judged that they were near some island, but not the mainland, according to the admiral, because, as he says, I make the mainland to be more distant. Monday, 17th of December. They proceeded on their west course and made over 50 leagues in the day. At night, but the admiral only counted 47. They were aided by the current. They saw much very fine grass and herbs from rocks, which came from the west. They therefore considered that they were near land. The pilots observed the north point and found that the needles turned a full point to the west of north. So the mariners were alarmed and dejected, and did not give their reason. But the admiral knew, and ordered that the north should be again observed at dawn. They then found that the needles were true. The cause was that the star makes the movement, and not the needles. This is footnote 2. The ingenious Columbus, who was the first observer of variation, succeeded in allaying the fears of his people by explaining in a specious manner the cause of the phenomenon. The surprise and anxiety of the pilots and sailors were decisive proofs that no one had observed until then the variation of the needle. End of footnote. At dawn on that Monday, they saw much more weed appearing, like herbs from rivers, in which they found a live crab, which the admiral kept. He says that these crabs are certain signs of land. The sea water was found to be less salt than it had been since leaving the Canaries. The breezes were always soft. Everyone was pleased, and the best sailors went ahead to sight the first land. They saw many tunny fish, and the crew of the Nina killed one. The admiral here says that these signs of land came from the west, in which direction I trust in that high God in whose hands are all victories, that very soon we shall sight land. In that morning he says that a white bird was seen which has not the habit of sleeping on the sea, called Rabot de Junco, or boatswain bird. Thursday, 18th of September. This day and night they made over 55 leagues. The admiral only counted 48. In all these days the sea was very smooth, like the river at Seville. This day Martin Alonso with the Pinta, which was a fast sailor, did not wait, for he said to the admiral from his caravel that he had seen a great multitude of birds flying westward, that he hoped to see land that night, and that he therefore pressed onward. The great cloud appeared in the north, which is a sign of the proximity of land. Wednesday, 19th of September. The admiral continued on his course, and during the day and night he made but 25 leagues, because it was calm. He counted 22. This day, at 10 o'clock, a booby came to the ship, and in the afternoon another arrived, these birds not generally going more than 20 leagues from the land. There was also some drizzling rain without wind, which is a sure sign of land. The admiral did not wish to cause delay by beating to windward to ascertain whether land was near, but he considered it certain that there were islands both to the north and south of his position, as indeed there were, and he was passing through the middle of them. For his desire was to press onward to the Indies, the weather being fine, for on his return, God willing, he could see all. These are his own words. Here the pilots found their positions. He of the Nina made the Canaries 440 leagues distant, the Pinta 420. The pilot of the admiral's ship made the distance exactly 400 leagues. Thursday, 20th of September. This day the course was west B north, and as her head was all round the compass owing to the calm that prevailed, the ships made only 7 or 8 leagues. 2 boobies came to the ship, and afterwards another, a sign of the proximity of land. They saw much weed, although none was seen on the previous day. They caught a bird with the hand, which was like a tern, but it was a river bird, not a sea bird, the feet being like those of a gull. At dawn 2 or 3 land birds came singing to the ship, and they disappeared before sunset. Afterwards a booby came from west-northwest, and flew to the southwest, which was a sign that it left land in the west-northwest. For these birds sleep on shore and go to sea in the mornings in search of food, not extending their flight more than 20 leagues from the land. I'm going to take a look at this. Okay. West-northwest by the Free Dictionary, or WNW. West-northwest. What the heck? I guess that means like slightly northwest or something along those lines. Okay, let's go back to this. Friday, 21st of September. Most of the day it was calm, and later there was a little wind. During the day and night they did not make good more than 13 leagues. At dawn they saw so much weed that the sea appeared to be covered with it, and it came from the west. A booby was seen. The sea was very smooth, like a river, and the air the best in the world. They saw a whale, which is a sign that they were near land, because they always keep near the shore. Saturday, 22nd of September. They shaped a course west-northwest, more or less, her head turning from one to the other point, and made 30 leagues. Scarcely any weed was seen. They saw some sandpipers and another bird. Here the admiral says, quote, "This contrary wind was very necessary for me, because my people were much excited at the thought that, in these seas, no wind ever blew in the direction of Spain. Part of the day there was no weed, and later it was very thick." End quote, but after Spain. Sunday, 23rd of September. They shaped a course northwest, and at times more northerly. Occasionally they were on their course, which was west, and they made about 22 leagues. They saw a dove and a booby, another river bird, and some white birds. There was a great deal of weed, and they found crabs in it. The sea being smooth and calm, the crew began to murmur, saying that here there was no great sea, and that the wind would never blow so that they could return to Spain. Afterwards the sea rose very much, without wind, which astonished them. The admiral here says, quote, "Thus the high sea was very necessary to me, such as had not appeared but in the time of the Jews, when they went out of Egypt and murmured against Moses, who delivered them out of captivity." End quote. Monday, 24th of September. The admiral went on his west course all day and night, making 14 leagues. He counted 12. A booby came to the ship, and many sandpipers. Tuesday, 25th of September. This day began with a calm, and afterwards there was wind. They were on their west course until night. The admiral conversed with Martin Alonso Pinzon, captain of the other caravel Pinta, respecting a chart which he had sent to the caravel 3 days before, on which, as it would appear, the admiral had certain islands depicted in that sea. Martin Alonso said that the ships were in the position on which the islands were placed, and the admiral replied that so it appeared to him, but it might be that they had not fallen in with them, owing to the currents which had always set the ships to the northeast, and that they had not made so much as the pilots reported. The admiral then asked for the charts to be returned, and it was sent back on a line. The admiral then began to plot the position on it, with the pilot and mariners. At sunset, Martin Alonso went up on the poop of his ship, and with much joy called to the admiral, claiming the reward as he had sighted land. When the admiral heard this positively declared, he says that he gave thanks to the Lord on his knees, while Martin Alonso said the Gloria in Excelsis with his people. The admiral's crew did the same. Those of the Nina all went up on the mast and into the rigging, and declared that it was land. It so seemed to the admiral, and that it was distant 25 leagues. They all continued to declare it was land until night. The admiral ordered the course to be altered from west to southwest, in which direction the land had appeared. That day they made 4 leagues on a west course, and 17 southwest, during the night, in all 21. But the people were told that 13 was the distance made good, for it was always feigned to them that the distances were less, so that the voyage might not appear so long. Thus 2 reckonings were kept on this voyage, the shorter being feigned, and the longer being the true one. The sea was very smooth, so that many sailors bathed alongside. They saw many dorados and other fish. Wednesday, 26th of September. The admiral continued on the west course until afternoon. Then he altered course to southwest, until he made out that what had been said to be land was only clouds. Day and night they made 31 leagues, counting 24 for the people. The sea was like a river, the air pleasant and very mild. That would suck. Jeez, jubilation at the sight of land. You're even saying prayers to God of thanks, and then you see that it's only clouds. Thursday, 27th of September. The course west and distance made good during day and night, 24 leagues, 20 being counted for the people. Many dorados came, one being killed. A boatswain bird came. Friday, 28th of September. The course was west, and the distance, owing to calms, only 14 leagues in day and night, 13 leagues being counted. They met with little weed, but caught 2 dorados and more in the other ships. Saturday, 29th of September. The course was west, and they made 24 leagues, counting 21 for the people. Owing to calms, the distance made good during day and night was not much. They saw a bird called rabiforcado, man-o'-war bird, which makes the boobies vomit what they have swallowed and eats it, maintaining itself on nothing else. Whew. It is a sea bird, but does not sleep on the sea, and does not go more than 20 leagues from the land. There are many of them at the Cape Verde Islands. Afterwards they saw 2 boobies. The air was very mild and agreeable, and the admiral says that nothing was wanting but to hear the nightingale. The sea smooth as a river. Later, 3 boobies and a man-o'-war bird were seen 3 times. There was much weed. Sunday, 30th of September. The western course was steered, and during the day and night, owing to calms, only 14 leagues were made, 11 being counted. 4 boatswain birds came to the ship, which is a great sign of land, for so many birds of this kind together is a sign that they are not straying or lost. They also twice saw 4 boobies. There was much weed. Note that the stars which are called las guardias, the pointers, when night comes on are near the western point, and when dawn breaks they are near the northeast point, so that during the whole night they do not appear to move more than 3 lines or 9 hours, and this on each night. The admiral says this, and also that at nightfall the needles vary a point westerly, while at dawn they agree exactly with the star. From this it would appear that the North Star has a movement like the other stars, while the needles always point correctly. Monday, 1st of October. Course west, and 25 leagues made good, counted for the crew as 20 leagues. There was a heavy shower of rain. At dawn the admiral's pilot made the distance from Hierro, 5781 leagues to the west. The reduced reckoning which the admiral showed to the crew made it 584 leagues. But the truth which the admiral observed and kept secret was 707 leagues. Tuesday, 2nd of October. Course west, and during the day and night 39 leagues were made good, counted for the crew as 30. The sea always smooth. Many thanks be given to God, says the admiral, that the weed is coming from east to west, contrary to its usual course. Many fish were seen, and one was killed. A white bird was also seen that appeared to be a gull. Wednesday, 3rd of October. They navigated on the usual course, and made good 47 leagues, counted as 40. Sandpipers appeared, and much weed, some of it very old, and some quite fresh, and having fruit. They saw no birds. The admiral, therefore, thought that they had left the islands behind them, which were depicted on the charts. The admiral here says that he did not wish to keep the ships beating about during the last week, and in the last few days, when there were so many signs of land, although he had information of certain islands in this region, for he wished to avoid delay, his object being to reach the Indies. He says that to delay would not be wise. Thursday, 4th of October. Course west, and 63 leagues were made good during the day and night, counted as 46. More than 40 sandpipers came to the ship in a flock, and 2 boobies, and a ship's boy hit one with a stone. There also came a man-o'-war bird, and a white bird like a gull. Friday, 5th of October. The admiral steered his course, going 11 miles an hour, and during the day and night they made good 57 leagues, as the wind increased somewhat during the night. 45 were counted. The sea was smooth and quiet. To God, he says, be many thanks given, the air being pleasant and temperate, with no weed, many sandpipers, and flying fish coming on the deck in numbers. Saturday, 6th of October. The admiral continued his west course, and during day and night they made good 40 leagues, 33 being counted. This night Martin Alonso said that it would be well to steer south of west, and it appeared to the admiral that Marco Alonso did not say this with respect to the island of Cipango. I'm going to go with Cipango. He saw that if an error was made, the land would not be reached so quickly, and that consequently it would be better to go at once to the continent and afterwards to the islands. Sunday, 7th of October. The west course was continued. For 2 hours they went at the rate of 12 miles an hour, and afterwards 8 miles an hour. They made good 23 leagues, counting 18 for the people. This day, at sunrise, the caravel Nina, which went ahead, being the best sailor, and pushed forward as much as possible to sight the land first, so as to enjoy the reward which the sovereigns had promised to whoever should see it first, hoisted a flag at the masthead, and fired a gun as a signal that she had sighted land, for such was the admiral's order. He had also ordered that, at sunrise and sunset, all the ships should join him, because those 2 times are most proper for seeing the greatest distance, the haze clearing away. No land was seen during the afternoon as reported by the caravel Nina, and they passed a great number of birds flying from north to southwest. This gave rise to the belief that the birds were either going to sleep on land, or were flying from the winter which might be supposed to be near in the land whence they were coming. The admiral was aware that most of the islands, being held by the Portuguese, were discovered by the flight of birds. For this reason he resolved to give up the west course, and to shape a course to west-southwest for the 2 following days. He began the new course 1 hour before sunset. They made good, during the night, about 5 leagues, and 23 in the day, altogether 28 leagues. Monday, 5th of October. The course was west-southwest, and 11½ or 12 leagues were made good in the day and night, and at times it appears that they went at the rate of 15 miles an hour during the night, if the handwriting is not deceptive. The sea was like the river at Seville. Thanks be to God, says the admiral. The air is very soft, like the April at Seville, and it is a pleasure to be here, so balmy are the breezes. The weeds seemed to be very fresh. There were many land birds, and they took one that was flying to the southwest terns. Ducks and a booby were also seen. Tuesday, 9th of October. The course was southwest, and they made 5 leagues. The wind then changed, and the admiral steered west by north, 4 leagues. Altogether, in day and night, they made 11 leagues by day and 20½ leagues by night, counted as 17 leagues altogether. Throughout the night birds were heard passing. Wednesday, 10th of October. The course was west-southwest, and they went at the rate of 10 miles an hour, occasionally 12 miles, and sometimes 7. During the day and night they made 59 leagues, counted as no more than 44. Here the people could endure no longer. They complained of the length of the voyage, but the admiral cheered them up in the best way he could, giving them good hopes of the advantages they might gain from it. He added that, however much they might complain, he had to go to the Indies, and that he would go on until he found them with the help of our Lord. Thursday, 11th of October. The course was west-southwest, and there was more sea than there had been during the whole of the voyage. They saw sandpipers and a green reed near the ship. Those of the Caravel Pinta saw a cane and a pole, and they took up another small pole which appeared to have been worked with iron. Also another bit of cane, a land plant, and a small board. The crew of the Caravel Mina also saw signs of land, and a small branch covered with berries. Everyone breathed afresh and rejoiced at these signs. The runs until sunset were 26 leagues. After sunset, the admiral returned to his original west course, and they went along at the rate of 12 miles an hour. Up to 2 hours after midnight, they had gone 90 miles, equal to 22.5 leagues. As the Caravel Pinta was a better sailor and went ahead of the admiral, she found the land and made the signals ordered by the admiral. The land was first seen by a sailor named Rodrigo de Triana. But the admiral, at 10 in the previous night, being on the castle of the poop, saw a light, though it was so uncertain that he could not affirm it was land. He called Pero Gutierrez, a gentleman of the king's bedchamber, and said that there seemed to be a light, and that he should look at it. He did so, and saw it. The admiral said the same to Rodrigo Sanchez of Segovia, whom the king and queen had sent with the fleet as inspector, but he could see nothing, because he was not in a place whence anything could be seen. After the admiral had spoken, he saw the light once or twice, and it was like a wax candle rising and falling. It seemed so few to be an indication of land. It seemed to few to be an indication of land, but the admiral made certain the land was close. When they said the salve, which all the sailors were accustomed to sing in their way, the admiral asked and admonished the men to keep a good lookout on the forecastle, and to watch well for land. And to him who should first cry out that he saw land, he would give a silk doublet, besides the other rewards promised by the sovereigns, which were 10,000 maravedis, to him who should first see it. At 2 hours after midnight, the land was sighted at a distance of 2 leagues. They shortened sail and lay by under the mainsail without the bonnets. The vessels were hove to, waiting for daylight, and on Friday they arrived at a small island of the Lucayos, called in the language of the Indians Guanahani. Watling Island, Southeast Point. It was named San Salvador by Columbus. Presently they saw naked people. The admiral went on shore in the armed boat, and Martin Alonso Pinzon and Vincent Yanez, his brother, who was captain of the Nina. The admiral took the royal standard, and the captains went with 2 banners of the Green Cross, which the admiral took in all the ships as a sign, with an F and a Y, and a crown over each letter, one on one side of the cross and the other on the other. Having landed, they saw trees very green, and much water, and fruits of divers kinds. The admiral called to the 2 captains, and to the other who leaped on shore, and to Rodrigo Escovedo, secretary of the whole fleet, and to Rodrigo Sanchez of Segovia, and said that they should bear fruitful testimony that he, in presence of all, had taken, as he now took, possession of the said island for the king and for the queen, his lords making the declaration that are required, as is more largely set forth in the testimonies which were then made in writing. So they just took the land. Presently, many inhabitants of the island assembled. What follows is in the actual words of the admiral in his book of the first navigation and discovery of the Indies. he says, that we might form great friendship, for I knew that they were a people who could be more easily freed and converted to our holy faith by love than by force, gave to some of them red caps and glass beads to put around their necks, and many other things of little value, which gave them great pleasure, and made them so much our friends that it was a marvel to see. They afterwards came to the ship's boat where we were, swimming and bringing us parrots, cotton threads in skeins, darts, and many other things, and we exchanged them for other things that we gave them, such as glass beads and small bells. In fine, they took all, and gave what they had with good will. It appeared to me to be a race of people very poor in everything. They go as naked as when their mothers bore them, and so do the women, although I did not see more than one young girl. All I saw were youths, none more than 30 years of age. They are very well made, with very handsome bodies, and very good countenances. Their hair is short and coarse, almost like the hairs of a horse's tail. They wear the hairs brought down to the eyebrows, except a few locks behind, which they wear long and never cut. They paint themselves black, and they are the color of the Canarians, neither black nor white. Some paint themselves white, others red, and others of what color they find. Some paint their faces, others the whole body, some only round the eyes, others only on the nose. They neither carry nor know anything of arms, for I showed them swords, and they took them by the blade and cut themselves through ignorance. They have no iron, their darts being wands without iron, some of them having a fish's tooth at the end, and others being pointed in various ways. They are all of fair stature and size, with good faces, and well made. I saw some with marks of wounds on their bodies, and I made signs to ask what it was, and they gave me to understand that people from other adjacent islands came with the intention of seizing them, and that they defended themselves. I believed, and still believe, that they come here from the mainlands to take them prisoners. They should be good servants and intelligent, for I observed that they quickly took in what was said to them, and I believed that they would easily be made Christians, as it appeared to me that they had no religion. I, our Lord being pleased, will take hence, at the time of my departure, 6 natives for your highness, that they may learn to speak. I saw no beast of any kind except parrots on this island. The above is in the words of the admiral. So some people from other islands came in and tried to take them, and these people were like, here are some gifts, come with us. I wonder how willingly they left. Okay, Saturday, 13th of October. As soon as dawn broke, many of these people came to the beach, all youths, as I have said, and all of good stature, a very handsome people. Their hair is not curly, but loose and coarse, like horsehair. In all the forehead is broad, more so than in any other people I have hitherto seen. Their eyes are very beautiful, and not small, and themselves far from black, but the color of the Canarians. Nor should anything else be expected, as this island is in a line east and west from the island of Hierro in the Canaries. Their legs are very straight, all in one line, and no belly, but very well formed. They came to the ship in small canoes, made out of the trunk of a tree like a longboat, and all of one piece, and wonderfully worked, considering the country. They are large, some of them holding 40 to 45 men, others smaller, and some only large enough to hold one man. They are propelled with a paddle, like a baker's shovel, and go at a marvelous rate. If the canoe capsizes, they all promptly begin to swim and to bail it out with calabashes that they take with them. They brought skeins of cotton thread, parrots, darts, and other small things which it would be tedious to recount, and they give all in exchange for anything that may be given to them. I was attentive, and took trouble to ascertain if there was gold. I saw that some of them had a small piece fastened in a hole they have in the nose, and by signs I was able to make out that to the south, or going from the island to the south, there was a king who had great cups full, and who possessed a great quantity. I tried to get them to go there, but afterwards I saw that they had no inclination. I resolved to wait until tomorrow in the afternoon, and then to depart, shaping a course to the southwest. For, according to what many of them told me, there was land to the south, to the southwest, and northwest, and that the natives from the northwest often came to attack them, and went on to the southwest in search of gold and precious stones. This island is rather large and very flat, with bright green trees, much water, and a very large lake in the center, without any mountains, and the whole land so green that it is a pleasure to look on it. The people are very docile, and for the longing to possess our things and not having anything to give in return, they take what they can get and presently swim away. Still, they give away all they have got, for whatever may be given to them, down to broken bits of crockery and glass. I saw one give 16 skeins of cotton for 3 coiotes of Portugal, equal to 1 blanca of Spain, the skeins being as much as an arroba of cotton thread. I shall keep it, and shall allow no one to take it, preserving it all for your highnesses, for it may be obtained in abundance. It is grown in this island, though the short time did not admit of the ascertaining this for a certainty. Here also is found the gold they wear fastened in their noses, but in order not to lose time, I intend to go and see if I can find the island of Kipango. Now, as it is night, all the natives have gone on shore with their canoes. Sunday, 14th of October. Quote, At dawn I ordered the ship's boat and the boats of the caravels to be got ready, and I went along the coast of the island to the north-northeast, to see the other side, which was on the other side to the east, and also to see the villages. Presently I saw 2 or 3, and the people all came to the shore, calling out and giving thanks to God. Some of them brought us water, others came with food, and when they saw that I did not want to land, they got into the sea and came swimming to us. We understood that they asked us if we had come from heaven. One old man came into the boat, and others cried out in loud voices to all the men and women to come and see the men who had come from heaven, and to bring them to eat and drink. Many came, including women, each bringing something, giving thanks to God, throwing themselves on the ground and shouting to us to come on shore. But I was afraid to land, seeing an extensive reef of rocks which surrounded the island, with deep water between it and the shore, forming a port, large enough for as many ships as there are in Christendom, but with a very narrow entrance. It is true that within this reef there are some sunken rocks, but the sea has no more motion than the water in a well. In order to see all this, I went this morning, that I might be able to give a full account to your highnesses, and also where a fortress might be established. I saw a piece of land which appeared like an island, although it is not one, and on it there were 6 houses. It might be converted into an island in 2 days, though I do not see that it would be necessary, for these people are very simple as regards the use of arms, as your highnesses will see from the 7 that I caused to be taken, to bring home and learn our language and return, unless your highnesses should order them all to be brought to Castile, or to be kept as captives on the same island. For with 50 men they can all be subjugated and made to do what is required of them. Close to the above peninsula there are gardens of the most beautiful trees I ever saw, and with leaves as green as those of Castile in the month of April and May, and much water. I examined all that port, and afterwards I returned to the ship and made sail. I saw so many islands that I hardly knew how to determine to which I should go first. Those natives I had with me said by signs that there were so many that they could not be numbered, and they gave the names of more than 100. At last I looked out for the largest, and resolved to shape a course for it, and so I did. It will be distant 5 leagues from this of San Salvador, and the others some more, some less. All are very flat, and all are inhabited. The natives make war on each other, although these are very simple-minded and handsomely formed people." Monday, 15th of October. Oh, it has almost been an hour. So at an hour, I will stop and maybe recount briefly what I have learned. Monday, 15th of October. Quote, "I had laid by during the night with the fear of reaching the land to anchor before daylight, not knowing whether the coast was clear of rocks, and at dawn I made sail. As the island was more than 5 leagues distant, and nearer 7, and the tide checked my way, it was noon when we arrived at the said island. I found that side facing toward the island of San Salvador trended north and south with a length of 5 leagues, and the other which I followed ran east and west for more than 10 leagues. As from this island I saw another larger one to the west, I clewed up the sails, after having run all that day until night, otherwise I could not have reached the western cape. I gave the name of Santa Maria de la Concepcion to the island, and also as the sun set I anchored near the said cape to ascertain if it contained gold. For the people I had taken from the island of San Salvador told me that here they wore very large rings of gold on their arms and legs. I really believed that all they said was nonsense, invented that they might escape. My desire was not to pass any island without taking possession, so that, one having been taken, the same may be said of all. I anchored and remained until today, Tuesday, when I went to the shore with the boats armed and landed. The people, who were numerous, went naked, and were like those of the other island of San Salvador. They let us go over the island, and gave us what we required. As the wind changed to the southeast, I did not like to stay, and returned to the ship. A large canoe was alongside the Nina, and one of the men of the island of San Salvador, who was on board, jumped into the sea and got into the canoe. In the middle of the night before, another swam away behind the canoe, which fled. Which, I guess that's a doubtful sentence with a word omitted. So maybe the translation is strange. For there never was boat that cannot have overtaken her, seeing that in speed they have a great advantage. So they reached the land and left the canoe. Some of my people went on shore in chase of them, but they all fled like fowls, and the canoe they had left was brought alongside the caravel Nina, whither, from another direction, another small canoe came, with a man who wished to barter with skeins of cotton. Some sailors jumped into the sea because he would not come on board the caravel, and seized him. I was on the poop of my ship and saw everything. So I sent for the man, gave him a red cap, some small beads of green glass, which I put on his arms, and small bells, which I put in his ears, and ordered his canoe, which was also on board, to be returned to him. I sent him on shore, and presently made sail to go to the other large island, which was in sight to the westward. I also ordered the other large canoe, which the caravel Nina was towing astern, to be cast adrift. And I soon saw that it reached the land at the same time as the man to whom I had given the above things. I had not wished to take the skein of cotton that he offered me. All the others came round him, and seemed astonished, for it appeared clear to them that we were good people. The other man who had fled might do us some harm, because we had carried him off, and for that reason I ordered this man to be set free, and gave him the above things, that he might think well of us. Otherwise, when your highnesses again send an expedition, they might not be friendly. All the presents I gave were not worth 4 maravedis. At 10 we departed with the wind southwest, and made for the south, to reach that other island, which is very large, and respecting which all the men that I bring from San Salvador make signs that there is much gold, and that they wear it as bracelets on the arms, on the legs, in the ears and nose, and round the neck. The distance of this island from that of Santa Maria is 9 leagues on a course east to west. All this part of the island trends northwest and southeast, and it appeared that this coast must have a length of 28 leagues. It is very flat, without any mountain, like San Salvador and Santa Maria, all being beach without rocks, except that there are some sunken rocks near the land, whence it is necessary to keep a good lookout when it is desired to anchor, and not to come to very near the land. But the water is always very clear, and the bottom is visible. At a distance of 2 shots of a lombard, there is, off all these islands, such a depth that the bottom cannot be reached. These islands are very green and fertile, and the climate very mild. They may contain many things of which I have no knowledge, for I do not wish to stop, in discovering and visiting many islands, to find gold. These people make signs that it is worn on the arms and legs, and it must be gold, for they point to some pieces that I have. I cannot err, with the help of our Lord, in finding out where this gold has its origin, being in the middle of the channel between these 2 islands, that is to say, that of Santa Maria and this large one, to which I give the names of Ferdinandina. I came upon a man alone in a canoe going from Santa Maria to Ferdinandina. He had a little of their bread, about the size of a fist, a calabash of water, a piece of brown earth, powdered and then kneaded, and some dried leaves, which must be a thing highly valued by them, for they bartered with it at San Salvador. He also had with him a native basket with a string of glass beads, and 2 blancas, by which I knew that he had come from the island of San Salvador. He had been to Santa Maria, and thence from Fernandina. I said that wrong the last few times. He came alongside the ship, and I made him come on board as he desired, also getting the canoe in board, and taking care of all his property. I ordered him to be given to eat bread and triacol, and also to drink, and so I shall take him on to Fernandina, where I shall return everything to him, in order that he may give a good account of us, that, our Lord pleasing, when your highnesses shall send here, those who come may receive honor, and that the natives may give them all they require." End quote. I think I will end there. It's not like these are broken up into chapters, so I can just sort of stop whenever I feel like it. Yeah, I'm right here. So yeah, that's interesting. I think what I did learn about Christopher Columbus in general, he was just regarding his personality. He seemed to have a very deep sense of duty. A lot of what he was doing was for the crown, and loyalty. Again, a lot of what he was doing was for the crown, and he had certain instructions to take people back to Spain in order to learn Spanish, and then to, I guess, act as translators for the colonization, because the whole point of this seems was to colonize the Indies, which it kind of makes me really curious, because at least in those days, I don't think much was known about India, except that like they had some legendary accounts of them. And so it must have been really interesting to think about all of the things that were in the legends of like all of the gold that they had, the riches, the paradise that they had far in the south or far in the east, and to find that all of these people were very poor, and although they spoke a different language, they were very different from what the what the legends seem to say. So that must have been really interesting for them to find out. Of course, they're looking for gold. It seems, and I also know a little bit about this time period when people were trying to get to the Americas or no, sorry, this is later. They were trying to get to the Indies in order to establish a trade route, and so obviously they're trying to bring stuff back to back to Spain, and so they're trying to find gold or silk or whatever it is they might be able to find. So that's interesting. I think, yeah, definitely Columbus seems to be a more complex person. He did try to take people as slaves or servants. I don't know what the Spanish would have said, uh, but at the same time, when they ran away or when it was apparent that they didn't want to stay enough to run away, he sort of just let them go. And this is from the account itself. He says that it's because he wanted to make a good impression, which is different from having a moral objection to enslaving them, which, by this time, not many people had a moral objection to slavery. It was still in the infancy, that objection to it. And it really came about more more after the Reformation, the whole idea of freedom. And it really came about more in England than first before anywhere else. So there obviously was not a moral objection to slavery. And obviously, when he's describing these, quote, different races, end quote, of people, he's describing them on the basis of Spanish culture, or, what he might call civilized culture in Europe. And he's using that as sort of a measuring line by which to measure these other civilizations, because he's saying these people seem intelligent or they don't seem intelligent, they seem simple, they are stout enough to defend themselves from invaders, or they're not, they don't know what a sword is, but they might have gold and that sort of thing. So he's measuring them on the basis of what he would consider to be civilized, which is, I think, some people could take criticism of that, but I think at the same time, if you don't know that you do that, then you're kind of blind, because everyone does that. Even while we are measuring Christopher Columbus to our standards, we're doing that, saying, well, he's trying to take these people as slaves. We're doing the same thing that he was doing to the natives by comparing him to our culture and using our culture and our principles as the measuring line. But with that said, yeah, he was definitely more of a complex individual. It seems like so far, and I don't know, because I want to read more about this voyage first to make any determined conclusions. But so far, he definitely is not the person that either the left or the right paints him as, insofar as they paint him as either just a hero or just a villain. He is so far somebody who is an explorer, has a duty to the crown, is a product of his times, seemingly allows for his men to do some uncouth things, but at the same time wants to make a good impression on the natives, whether that is for greed or because of his moral principles. It seems to be a bit of both. And yeah, that's basically what I've learned about him so far. Hope you guys have a good Thanksgiving, whoever listens to this, or I guess watches this too, because you can read alongside me. And yeah, have a good day. Bye.